Jobs, not jobs. A foreign minister from Rwanda told CNN, he said he's committed to supporting this ongoing.
Yeah, see that face? That's the expression one makes when he realizes that he's caught a far-left activist disguised as a news panelist red-handed, making sweeping statements about President Trump without knowing the day's biggest news. What you're about to see is frankly a new low for CNN, and that's saying something. You're about to see the complete humiliation of a liberal panelist on live TV in front of CNN's dwindling audience, and I'm going to show you exactly what it all really means. Hey gang, it's me, Dr. Steve, your patron professor, here to keep you sane amidst all the insanity. And if you want a front row seat on how you are changing the world in ways you never even imagined, make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button. Speaking of changing the world, I got huge news. My brand new book, America Awakened, officially launches July 4th, and it's already being called my most important work yet. The book unpacks the fall of globalism, the rise of a new conservative age, and how you are part of it. If you want to be on the inside, if you want to understand where we're going and why, this is your guide. So don't wait. Grab your copy of America Awakened and join the movement that's changing the world.
Negotiation, but warned that ending the conflict will depend on political will and the good faith. And he doesn't know if that is true, referring to the DRC's government. It's not done. It's not done.
You didn't watch the news yesterday. They literally announced it in the Oval Office.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. This is indeed a historical day because it's the signing of a peace agreement between Congo and Rwanda to end a conflict that has been going on for 30 years.
Let me ask you a question.
Literally in the Oval
Office. Can I say something?
Friday afternoon.
You said something earlier. You said, and you kind of agree with Pete, when he says there's something about the media where they feel like they want to disprove Donald Trump. Is that what you said? Something to that effect?
Yeah, it happens every day.
And you think that's what they want to do, right? You think the media is going in to say he's lying and he's not telling the truth. Do you believe that?
That is the standing disposition.
Do you believe that he tells the truth?
Yeah, I do.
Every time?
You think
all presidents?
You think the president tells the truth? This current president tells the truth often.
Yeah, I do.
Okay. I also think that, to our point that we haven't established, he does announce things before it's too soon.
They literally had the countries in there.
The program isn't.
I feel like you should watch the news before you come out here.
I feel like you should stop trying to defend him just to defend him.
I feel like you should watch the news.
Stop.
Scott Jennings, man, he has the best facial. This is what a person looks like when they're surrounded by absolute idiocy. You can only end up laughing. That's all you can do. Now, I didn't even look up who that annoying woman was. I believe it was Carrie Champion. Who, as you just saw, she's nothing more than just another far-left activist that CNN shovels out to their rapidly dwindling audience to spew absolute ignorant nonsense. What Scott just caught her red-handed doing there is making a claim about President Trump that he secured a peace deal between the Congo and Rwanda when supposedly Trump had not done so. She read from a report written days ago claiming that the peace treaty was still tenuous and still a matter of controversy and it was not yet a done deal, not realizing that it is now a done deal. President Trump, just hours before that panel, actually had the leaders of both the Congo and Rwanda in the Oval Office after they both signed the peace treaty. I mean, you can't possibly make this stuff up. She didn't even know the treaty was signed. And this is supposedly a news panel on CNN, supposedly a news channel. And they're inviting panelists who don't watch the freaking news. And that's the only possible face that one could make in the presence of such blatant idiocy. So let's bring her up to speed here. On Friday, June 27th, Rwanda and the Democratic Republic of Congo signed a landmark peace agreement mediated between the United States. This wasn't just any diplomatic achievement. It aimed to end 3 decades of devastating conflict that's killed approximately 6 million people and displaced another 7 million. We actually did a video on this conflict a few months back. It's a conflict that goes all the way back to that horrible genocide, I'm sure you all remember, in Rwanda back in the 1990s when the Tutsi minority, they make up about 10% of Rwanda, just in case Tucker Carlson's watching. They make up about 10% of Rwanda. They were slaughtered at the hands of Hutu rioters back in 1994. It was absolutely horrific. But what happened is that after a Tutsi-led force ended the genocide with a military victory, many ethnic Hutus, those responsible for the genocide, they fled, they crossed the border to neighboring DRC, the Democratic Republic of Congo. One of the Hutu groups formed something called the Democratic Forces for the Liberation of Rwanda. And that includes some of those responsible for the Rwandan genocide 30 years ago. It's still a very active militia in eastern Congo. And Rwanda officials accuse the Congolese authorities of working with these Hutu rebels to undermine Rwandan national security. And so Rwanda, in retaliation, is supporting a Tutsi uprising inside the Congo. Since it began back in 2022, the insurgent rebellion has made serious gains, taking over major cities in the Kivu region, specifically the city of Goma, the capital of the North Kivu province, which is home to around 2 million people. So that's like taking over Philadelphia. The uprising has been nothing less than a military disaster for the DRC, and it's been a major flashpoint on the African continent now for years. And what we just saw on Friday was the official end of that conflict. The agreement addresses multiple critical issues. It involves the complete withdrawal of Rwandan forces from eastern Congo within 90 days, the cessation of Congolese military actions against armed groups within 90 days, the establishment of joint security coordination mechanisms within 30 days, and the launch of regional economic integration frameworks within 90 days. Moreover, the peace agreement also has significant economic implications for the United States that this poor excuse for a CNN panelist missed entirely. The deal enables the United States government and U.S. companies to gain access to Congo's critical minerals, including some of the world's largest reserves of coltan and cobalt and gold and tantalum, tin, and tungsten, all essential for technology manufacturing. This is one of the key areas that the Trump administration is focusing on. In the age of AI, in the age of quantum computing, Trump does not want the United States in any way dependent on another nation for technological manufacturing. And on top of that, this brokered peace by the United States puts up a bit of a firewall between the Congo and Rwanda on the one side and Russia and China on the other. Remember, this is a region where both China and Russia have been expanding their influence. And this peace deal does a lot to circumvent that, both politically and economically. And yet, did anyone on that CNN panel, let alone that borderline illiterate, even so much as mention any of this? Of course not. They were too busy crafting their next anti-Trump talking points. What you just witnessed there with that humiliating example of colossal ignorance is a perfect illustration of what social scientists refer to as gatekeeping theory. You might want to write that down. Gatekeeping theory. Broadly speaking, gatekeeping theory refers to the process by which media professionals filter information for public consumption. The key term there is filter. It's the process by which professional journalists, so-called, filter information for public consumption. The key there with gatekeeping theory is that journalists and commentators act as information filters. And what that means is they don't merely decide what stories to cover, but how to cover them, how to frame them. That's the technical term, framing here. And that's absolutely key. Journalists will put up a veneer that they care only about facts, just the facts, ma'am, nothing but the facts. But what they hide there is the frame behind that claim. They're not just claiming that they're only about facts. They're claiming, or they're assuming in that claim, that facts are good, that they should be, that they ought to be only about facts, that they value facts. Being about facts legitimates their journalist profession. But the key here is that good, value, legitimation, they're not themselves facts. They're frames. They tell you whether something is good or bad. That's what a frame does. The journalist's pursuit of facts is framed as a good pursuit. It's presented as moral and righteous. And that is precisely what Scott Jennings is calling out for this woman, this borderline illiterate. She and CNN and the legacy media as a whole consistently frame President Trump in negative and derogatory terms. Rush Limbaugh always used to talk about this in terms of the legacy media. It's not merely a matter of them getting their facts wrong. That's bad enough. The legacy media, as gatekeepers of information, or at least one-time gatekeepers of information, tell their dwindling audiences whether the facts they're reporting are good or bad, praiseworthy or worthy of condemnation, right or wrong. This is the difference between how Democrats are covered and how Republicans are covered. Democrats are assumed innocent until proven guilty, while Republicans are assumed guilty until proven innocent. That's the framing. So this goes way beyond simply getting her facts wrong and not knowing the news of the day. This ridiculous excuse for a panelist is part of this larger media project of constantly trying to paint President Trump in the most negative light possible. And in the process, CNN panelists aren't even availing themselves of the news anymore. This borderline illiterate got caught pre-writing her script against Trump and thereby exposed a liberal narrative that passes as news today. The CNN panelist humiliation serves as a perfect case study in how ideological bias corrupts journalistic standards. When media professionals become more invested in pushing narratives than news, they inevitably make these kinds of embarrassing errors. The lesson for conservative audiences is clear. Not only do you always have to verify what mainstream media tells you, because the gatekeepers are often more focused on ideology than information, but the good news is we are now the media, as Elon Musk likes to say to us. We get to bypass these gatekeepers, very much like email and texting bypasses the old post office. We now, because of the internet, have the same access to the same information that anyone at CNN has, if not more so, because we're actually availing them ourselves of it, unlike they are. We have the same access, the same information that CNN has now. They are no longer exclusivist gatekeepers of information. The information has been dispersed, disseminated, and democratized among the masses such that we are now the media and we get to fact check CNN. That's the key to understanding this new techno-populist age that we're in. The CNN commentator's failure wasn't just about missing one story. It was about a systematic breakdown in the professional standards that should guide all responsible journalism. When you can't be bothered to check the day's major news before attacking President Trump, you've obviously disqualified yourself from anything remotely resembling serious political commentary. The Congo-Rwanda peace deal represents hope for millions of Africans who have suffered through decades of conflict. That a CNN commentator could miss this historic achievement while crafting attacks on the administration that brokered it tells you everything you need to know about the current state of the dying legacy media. Hey there, Turley Talker. You know what? I'd love to hear from you. That's why I'm launching the Dr. Steve hotline, where you can call in, leave a question, and maybe even hear your own voice featured on an upcoming episode of the show. Whether it's about the latest political shakeup or cultural trends or how we keep pushing forward in this new conservative age, I want to know what's on your mind. Call me at 717-844-5984. Just leave your question. I'll be checking in every single week to answer as many as I can. Again, that's 717-844-5984. Your chance to be a part of the conversation. One more time, 717-844-5984. Give me a call and let's talk.